I'm here today to talk about a new report I'm releasing to the Legislature of Ontario called Restoring the Balance. It's a review of the first 3 years of the Green Energy Act in Ontario. And of course, there's been a lot of discussion about the Green Energy Act and a lot of discussion around renewable energy initiatives, but people have lost track of the fact that a central purpose of the Green Energy Act, a promise as it would, to the Ontario people, was that it would foster a culture of conservation of energy amongst homeowners, government, and industry, so that we would use less energy. And that's a central purpose. One provision under that culture of conservation was to have mandatory home energy audits. What is a mandatory home energy audit? When we purchase a home, as we know, it's a very expensive proposition. And we buy that home without knowing anything about its energy consumption. It's very difficult to look at a home and see if know if the windows are efficient, if the amount of insulation in the walls is satisfactory, all these subtle points, if it's sealed sufficiently to give us good energy efficiency. So homeowners going out to buy a home, how do they compare first home with another home and with respect to how much it's going to cost them in its energy consumption in their monthly energy bills? It really is, the home energy audit is as a requirement for the seller to disclose the energy use of that building, either through a formal audit or through some mechanism of disclosure. So the buyer has some sense of how expensive it is going to be heat and use energy in that home. It's really just consumer protection. And in fact, we demand this in any other field. We don't buy appliances without looking at the energy efficiency labels on them to see how efficient they are. We don't buy a new car without knowing what the mileage is. At least we know what we're getting into. So why is it the most expensive purchase that we actually make, which is a home, we don't know the energy efficiency? So that's the central purpose of this initiative. The government put it in the Green Energy Act. It's in the law, but laws have to be proclaimed and followed up with regulations, etc. And the government backed down and has not, in this 3-year time, proclaimed this important consumer protection piece of legislation into law. Why not? Other jurisdictions do it. It's common in Europe, parts of the United States, Australia. It is accepted that people have the right to know what they're getting into with respect to energy costs. It's time for the government to step up to its commitment to the people of Ontario and proclaim these pieces of legislation and bring in mandatory home energy audits in Ontario.